Hello class, today we're going to use a shared reading to help you understand how scientists think about text and make meaning for themselves when they read. We will be reading the same text 3 times over a period of 3 days with a different purpose each day, and just with our Armageddon movie example, reading with a different purpose will help you pull out different information from the text each day. And today we are working on the skill of previewing. Previewing the text helps us set our expectations and set our purpose for our reading. So let's dig into our text titled, "What is a subduction zone?" One thing I like to do when previewing is to quickly scroll through the article. When I do so, I obviously notice the title, the author, and the date. I also see a couple of pictures. This one is about the Ring of Fire. I've heard of that before. And this one down here is a 3D model of a subduction zone. So I'm guessing that the Ring of Fire is either a subduction zone or is somehow related to one. So that's just one of my noticings. I want you to pause the video now and jot down 1 to 2 noticings of your own as you scroll through this article. You may look for headings, repeated words, bolded words, etc. Really, just preview it and write down what you noticed on a first skim. Okay, now I'm going to read the first section of this article to you. Continue to jot down some of your overall noticings or things that jump out at you upon your first reading. If something seems confusing to you, you can also jot this down. A subduction zone is the biggest smash-up on Earth, marking the collision between 2 of the planet's tectonic plates, the pieces of crust that slowly move across the surface over millions of years. When 2 tectonic plates meet, one may slide underneath the other, curving down into the mantle. The mantle is the hotter layer under the crust. When this happens, geologists call the boundary between the plates a subduction zone. Tectonic plates can transport both continental crust and oceanic crust, or they may carry only one kind of crust. If 2 colliding plates carry the same kind of crust, such as a continent to continent, they may crash together without subducting and crumple like cars in a front-end collision. The massive Himalaya mountain chain was created this way when India slammed into Asia. But if the plates are different densities, a subduction zone usually forms. Oceanic crust is denser than continental crust and will typically sink into the mantle when these 2 kinds of crust meet at a subduction zone. Sometimes oceanic crust may grow so old and dense that it collapses and spontaneously forms a subduction zone, scientists think. Subduction zones occur all around the edge of the Pacific Ocean, offshore of Washington, Canada, Alaska, Russia, Japan, and Indonesia. Called the Ring of Fire, these subduction zones are responsible for the biggest earthquakes, the most terrible tsunamis, and some of the worst volcanic eruptions on Earth. So after reading that first section, I noticed several words about things crashing together, such as smash up, collision, crumple, front-end collision, and slammed. The terms subduction zone and tectonic plates were commonly used vocabulary throughout this section. I also noticed that subduction zones are related to specific large geographic places like countries and offshore areas as opposed to, say, like a small city. So in a minute, I want you to read the rest of the article independently and continue to compile your noticings as you preview the text. But first, let's review the task you're going to complete after you read. So on the next page in Schoology, you'll see a discussion set up for you to share the noticings you and a partner generate after this first preview reading. Your task is to finish reading the article independently. When both you and your partner are finished, discuss your noticings that you each collected on that first preview read. Talk about those noticings and then capture the main ideas of them in a discussion post in Schoology by typing here in this box and then clicking the word post. Make sure both members' names are included at the beginning of the post as you see in this example here. If you have questions, please raise your hand. If not, go ahead and go to the article and continue with your preview reading of what is a subduction zone?